This podcast is brought to you by Independent Building Advice. IBA acknowledges traditional owners of the land and waters this podcast is recorded on. If you find this episode helpful, follow us for more so we can continue putting out free value for all homeowners in Australia. It really goes a long way. Enjoy the episode.
All right, today we're actually talking a really popular and subject that a lot of people ask for and they want to know more about, and that is what kind of stone tops you can have in your bathrooms or your kitchens. Specifically today, we're talking mainly kitchens, different types of stone tops, what's good for you, and we've got an expert in this field, or 100% expert. We've got Ty here today, who is basically from Asetica. Well, you are definitely from Asetica. Tell us about you, tell us about Asetica, and then we'll get into the broader topic of stone and then more about what you guys bring to the table.
Well, I appreciate the expert introduction because I've been called a lot worse. So
That's good.
thank you for that. I appreciate it. But yeah, so I work with Asetica Services. So we're an importer of sintered stone. Let's say like a sintered porcelain material from Europe. Here at the Home Base Centre, where you're located in the beautiful Perth. I'm from Melbourne, so it's amazing to come here today. And
55 Silvata Road, Subiaco. Just
correct. And some beautiful weather. Yeah, but the industry as a whole has changed a lot in the last couple of years, especially post the engineered stone high crystalline silica material ban. So I think the biggest thing for us as a company and for a lot of other companies is now dispelling myths around what the industry is, what materials are suitable, and what it means for end users and specifiers alike.
So let's talk about different stones. So first of all, most people at home know about the laminate tops, which isn't a stone, it's a laminate top. That's the old traditional one that you know very popular in the past. Then what came out was the quartz composite stone, which is like the stone tops that again most project builders would have in their homes and most people have in their homes, which is a quartz composite. And then you've also got the marbles, which people also know about, and the granites. They're probably the main different stone tops that people have known about. Yeah. And then with the stone, they had basically issues with the stone and how it was made, which a lot of people, the government basically said you can't have the quartz composite the way it was made. And then the whole industry went, okay, what do we do? And let's look at other options. Yeah. When that happened, then people started looking at porcelain as, okay, well, that's been around forever anyway, but it was not as popular. Yeah. Let's look at porcelain as an option. Yeah. What else is out there? Some stone companies have never actually solved the problem of moving away from Asetica and silica. So the silica was basically being outlawed as you can't have it in Australia because it was causing illness for people. Yeah. Some people might say that happened too quickly and there wasn't enough research, but that's a different story. Yeah. So then people went, okay, we can't have the quartz composite, which is pretty cost effective. What are other options out there that's going to last forever, look good, not be scratch resistant, that kind of thing? Yeah. So there was a big look, and basically stone suppliers were scrambling at options. Some suppliers still haven't solved the problem properly, and they've got they're delivering stone tops and they're scratching and have to recall them and things like that. So then it was like, well, is porcelain the right answer? And then, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys can go, well, hold my beer, I've got a solution for you. And then your product sort of become a great solution for all of that. Is that a good summary? Where do you sort of see that?
100%, yeah. To give a little bit of education to the user. So the Australian government and WorkSafe came out and said high crystalline silica versions of the what we know as engineered stone are outlawed because of the crystalline silica element in it. Yep. Was causing the silicosis issues, which is incredibly unfortunate for the industry as a whole. And I think you're right. I think it was a very fast move. Yeah. So to transition within 12 to 24 months of an entire product line across an industry that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars is a monumental task. So the companies have come out and done it very, very well. But there's still, I guess, some questions around the product in and of itself. And with us at Asetica, we knew that there was demand for a product that was maybe a little bit more dynamic than this micronized glass, which is called this mineral composite material that is out now replacing the high silica version. So with the sintered stone, it definitely advances what is in these current materials and kind of takes it to the next level. But in terms of sintered stone and porcelain, it's been around for many, many years.
What does sintered stone mean?
Sintered stone essentially, sintered stone refers to the sintering of the material, which is the way in which it's produced. So porcelain and sintered stone are very similar, which they both produce under immense heat and pressure, which creates this large format ceramic.
Yeah, because porcelain's a tile basically.
Like a large format ceramic tile. Yeah, and if you look at the durability and the benefits of porcelain anyway for a splashback or for flooring or for walls or vertical surfaces, it's incredibly dynamic and goes where a lot of materials won't go. Yeah. So
what is the benefits for people? So
100%.
So with quartz composite, you'll read that it's scratch resistant, I guess.
Yes.
But you shouldn't put hot pots and pans on it.
Yes.
And they are prone to chipping. If you hit your pan on it by accident,
Yeah.
you will chip it. But the porcelain's a bit stronger, is that right? And it can take the heat. Is that correct with porcelain?
Yeah, porcelain has this negative connotation that it's very brittle and it fractures and it chips and it cracks. And while that may have been the case, the technology has come so far in the last 20 years. Our product's been around since 2007, so it's almost had 20 years of innovation to get it to a point where it's comparable as anything else in terms of strength, despite what a lot of people might tell you.
Yeah.
It definitely comes in the slimline 12mm profile, which is a little bit more susceptible, let's say, to damage if it's hit. But the 20
but it looks slick. Yeah,
it looks very, very slick.
Yeah.
But what it is, it's completely resistant to heat, stain, scratches, UV. So you won't get that thermal shock is what it's called. So if you were to take a hot pot out of the oven and put it on most materials, you will create a fracture because the material cannot resist the heat, or you'll create scorch marks.
Yeah.
So with sintered stone and with porcelain, to a degree, you don't get that same sort of thing. So now with the industry changing so quickly, people are really seeing this as an alternate option to crystalline silica versions and naturals and other materials which just don't have the same advanced properties as sintered and porcelain.
Gotcha. So porcelain, why haven't people just embraced porcelain as a great alternative to the, basically the stone?
Yeah. I think it's the exact same reason as why people didn't adopt engineered stone for a long time when it came out to replace laminate. When Jerry Harvey and Caesar Stone came into the marketplace, it was like, don't touch this stuff. Laminate's going to be, or granite, like a basic black granite was going to be the main.
Just unfamiliar?
Unfamiliar, a lack of education. I think a lot of companies are pushing forward and educating, but just with the saturation of engineered stone in the marketplace, people just see that as the mainstay product. So for us at Asetica, a lot of what we do is around education. It's like, what is this material? And from a fabricator standpoint as well, a lot of fabricators don't want to touch it because they just, respectfully to those guys, they're just uneducated on how to cut it in the right way.
I don't know it, so I fear it.
100%. You stick with what you know, and that's completely fine for most people. But a lot of the fabricators now that are coming out and are working either exclusively or adopting a lot more porcelain, they're winning more jobs, they're elevating the perception of their own company, and they're really getting it out to the masses. And when people have it in their home, they're completely in love with it because you never have to worry about it. If you I like a red wine, so if I drop a little bit of red wine on my porcelain benchtop, and I miss it, I don't have to stress about it staining like I would any other material.
That is a beautiful thing, and it's something because if you're going to be in the house for 20 years
100%.
and you want to make sure it's going to look great forever.
Yeah.
So porcelain and sintered stone, what's the differences there?
Yeah, very, very similar in terms of what they are really, but the sintering process is just a little bit more advanced, a little bit more pressure, a little bit more heat, which creates a little bit more durability and strength in the material as opposed to a porcelain material.
Gotcha.
And the raw ingredients are a little bit more refined in sintered stone, to put it simply.
So do you need that extra strength? Like, how does that benefit someone? Looking at porcelain and the sintered stone. Well, do I need it? How does it benefit the user?
With sintered stone, you just get that little bit of extra peace of mind that if you do knock it or you're going to have it in a certain place, you're not going to have to worry about those common mainstay issues that you're going to get with some of the porcelain brands. That's not to dispel porcelain.
No.
Porcelain's still a wonderful product, but sintering is just really just that next level. And particularly with a European-made product like what we've got, it just you've got decades of innovation, whereas some of the new porcelain products are still relatively new and the production technology is still catching up.
And porcelain, although we're just using the one word for that, there's scope there for different levels of what it comes out at and how it actually works and so forth. Like, not all products are the same.
100%. Different sizes, thicknesses, origins play a very large part in that as well. When you see non-European origins, it's a pretty notable difference, particularly in the surface print or in the quality of the outcome that you see. So, hence the reason why we went with European. It's been around forever. They've got it right, and it looks absolutely beautiful and performs exceptionally well.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, your display here at Homebase here is beautiful. Like, people walk in, what is this?
100%.
It's quite funny actually. I see people like rubbing the stone that you got up there, and it's like, or the sintered stone. But so what is it? So what kind of colours do they come in? What kind of patterns? Like, if I got this particular image in my mind, obviously with a lot of quartz composites and that, there's a range that you can get, and you might go to a Caesar stone or an Esser stone or something like that, and they don't really have the colour I want or the pattern I want. How does that work with Asetica? What do you guys?
Well, the beauty of what we have at Asetica and with our company is that we have emulated natural stones, and we have taken those images and those graphics and we've translated those over to our materials. So again, one of the negative connotations of sintered stone or porcelain is that it's a surface print, which is what it has a complementary base color, or what they call the biscuit. And a lot of those prints can be pixelated, or they just don't quite emulate the natural beauty of a Laurent or a breccia brown or a tropical green, for example, or like a rainforest green.
Yeah.
With sintered stone and porcelain, you're getting a natural stone look without the natural stone pitfalls.
So walk us through that process. So what do you mean, like, if this is new to somebody, they're thinking about building, they're listening to this podcast, they're going, I want to build a kitchen, what kind of stone do I want? I've got this idea in my mind. And then you're talking about printing in that. So what does that mean? Like,
I guess to put it in the simplest term, it's like printing on paper. It goes through a very expensive large printer, and you create the raw slab, which would just be like a white base. Or let's say, for example, we have a color called Travertino Pearl, which emulates natural travertine.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Good guess. So they create the base, which has like the yellow sort of earthy, coastal, sandy base.
Yep.
And then it goes through the printer after it's fired in the kiln and under the press and sintered, and then the print goes on top. So you're getting natural travertine without the porosity, or without the staining or the scratching or the etching in this beautiful ceramic material that will last forever.
Yep. Now, I'm going to ask you questions. I do know the answers to these, but in case someone's wondering at home.
Yeah.
So you're putting it on top, wouldn't it just scratch off over time?
No, absolutely not. No, it's embedded in the material. So it goes into the surface of the material. It's not just a print on the surface that you can smudge off. It's embedded.
Again, I know the answer, but I just thought I'd ask you.
And when it's fired under that heat and all that pressure, it's compacted and it's pressed and it's fired into the surface of the material.
So if I'm boiling some eggs on my hot plate and I put it on top of the bench, it's not going to burn?
Absolutely not. No, it's not going to come off. You look at the InvisiCook systems these days, like all these induction cooktop systems now, where they're using ceramic or porcelain exclusively. There's hundreds of degrees of heat going through that, and you can take the surface off, and it's
amazing.
Fine.
Absolutely. And that's that durability you want. Not
100%.
that every day you should be grabbing a pot and just putting it on the top anyway. That might be a random thing to do, but to have that option, you can do that.
100%.
And not to have that and know that it's going to look good in 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. For probably the biggest demographic that we deal with is families, large families. They've got large kids, large families. Like, they're really busy in the morning, school pickups, school drop-offs, cooking lunches, cooking dinners. They might have a family member that's at home cooking all the time. They might love to use sauces or spices or lots of different things that would cause staining and etching on traditional materials. And it's just that complete peace of mind that you don't have to worry about with sintered.
Yeah, magic. Well, again, the reason why I love your product so well, and this is one of the big things that I think is a great benefit for it. I've designed and been involved in many display homes for builders I've worked for in the past. And we'll do this beautiful kitchens out near the al fresco area. The kitchen looks amazing. And we're just going to do this barbecue area outside. I'm going to have this stone go from inside to outside, so it looks like the outdoor kitchen looks exactly like the kitchen inside. And you know what? That display home looks magic the day you finish building it and people move into it. And those display homes last 2-3 years. And on the second, third year, it's not looking so hot outside because the stone, the quartz composite, whatever that we would use on it, it's just not set up for that. Whereas you guys have got that perfectly nailed.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the fact that it's UV and weather resistant. The unfortunate thing about Australia is that we're so far behind the trends. So if we remove the alfresco conversation just for a second, we look at external facades for buildings all throughout Europe and Asia and Brazil and many different countries around the world. They're using sintered stone for external building cladding, from 1 to 50
love that
stories.
idea.
And they're lasting decades and decades, especially on the back of the aluminum composite panels, that, terrible tragedy that happened in the UK now. There's really a perception around what safe and sustainable materials we want to use on buildings. Going back to the alfresco conversation, it's the fact that you can just put it somewhere and you don't have to worry about it. With quartz composite or these mineral things, they could fade, they can discolor, they could stain, they could start to etch from consistent UV exposure or rapid changes in temperature. Whereas with the sintered stone, again, it's just
it's there forever.
You think about a tile behind a splashback and the amount of heat from a gas cooktop that takes on. It's like that, but in an outdoor area. So again, if you're taking hot pans or items out of the barbecue, you want to put them on the benchtop, there's no issue.
All the rain, weather, everything like that looks great. And then you can have that indoor-outdoor sort of flow.
You can have a consistent flow, from your kitchen. A lot of people maybe want to do like a really feature show-stopping kitchen and splashback and then translate that to the alfresco area and then have something more simplistic in a laundry or a bathroom. With this, you can do everything.
Because I think there's some really great things for people to explore. So often we do we've done a few of our homes that's on our website, but we've done like a feature brick at the front.
Yes.
And then as you walk in the entryway, the feature brick goes through, and then you go to the fireplace at the back, we've got the feature brick there as well. And in the alfresco, we've got a feature brick.
Yeah.
But I think, that's often not common, but that's a style. But you could do that with a sintered stone and have that through the entry at the front, at the back, and have it all matching through your home, and then even have the same thing in the kitchen, or you could do a different type in the kitchen, and then you'd be quite creative and have a theme through your home, so to speak.
Yeah, we have customers that do it for floors, walls, for the vertical surfaces, kitchens, bench tops, everywhere. As cliche as it sounds, the only limits to sintered stone are really what you can imagine that you can do with it.
Yeah.
And if you just take away all those negative connotations about the brittle nature and the fracturing, the chipping, which just don't exist with this material anymore, our material, let's say, you can use it absolutely everywhere. And the great thing is you don't have to bring in multiple trades. Your stonemason can do absolutely everything for you, or a tiler can do it for you as well.
Yeah. So that all sounds really expensive. How does it, obviously there's sintered stone out there and there's bigger known names out there. How do you guys compare with pricing and things like that? Or?
Well, I'll go through some sort of like the pricing of some of the materials. Like in terms of cost effectiveness, your engineered stone or your mineral is going to be most times your most cost effective material. But again, you're limited by some design features for that. It'll get the job done, but you can't take it in certain areas as we've discussed here.
Let's just jump in on that one for 1 second though, just for people at home. When you actually get a stone top into your home, you might go a quartz composite from one of the big players out there. Most builders will include 5 or 7 standard colours.
Yes.
And yes, they're good value for money because they're going, these are discounted for you as a builder. You get a bit better price of that. But if you go outside of that, the price does jump up quickly.
Very much so.
And people have to be aware that if you want a special type of stone or colour, it can be triple the price.
Absolutely.
So just to back on what you're saying there, that you can get it as good value for money.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that the one that you want is good value for money. So
100%.
just as a little caveat there.
Yeah, totally. Your marble look styles in your mineral, your engineered stone are pretty much on par with sintered stone.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, because there is a little bit of a monopoly in the marketplace with some of these brands. They can command those higher prices because of their brand awareness and the company and who they are.
Yeah.
And then you have people like us that come into the marketplace and we sort of show that these products aren't out of reach. They can be there for anybody at any single level. It just depends on the style that you're after.
Yeah, because but it's also you're investing in the quality of the finish. So if your intention to build a home and sell it, well, maybe the money's not there. Yeah. Maybe it's not worth doing it because you're not going to be there. But at the same time, though, if you're going to live there as your forever home, which is like you're saying is most of your market. Yeah. Invest in, it's not that much more, but get the quality that you're after.
It's complete peace of mind. And I had a conversation with a builder today, and when you could say that you go into a property and you have European porcelain or European sintered stone, it elevates the perception of the property, it elevates the perception of the price around the property as well. Yeah. And gives you a real wow factor, show-stopping feature in your kitchen. Yeah, absolutely. Or the space that you use it in.
Yeah, that's great. So getting back to the price point. So you've got, obviously you got the quartz composite, which is the most cost-effective stone.
Yes.
What are some of the other options? So you got marble, you've got
marbles, you have granites, you have quartzite. So marbles like your Carraras and your color cutters are very, very, very expensive. Yeah. Particularly because they have to be cut from the earth. Everyone's very unique. But again, as beautiful as they are, it's almost like an oil painting. You can admire it, but you can't cook on it. Yeah. A lot of the time. Yeah. The technology is coming far, but the same thing with natural stones is that you have to seal them on a regular basis as well. You have to be very careful of etching, particularly around your sink. If you're using waters or coffees, you're going to get a lot of stains. Yeah. From there, you can go up to sort of like a granite, which is getting a little bit more expensive, very hardy, very durable, quite limited in the styles that you can have. And again, pretty cost expensive.
It's a feature though,
it's more of a feature, and then you start getting into like your quartzites, like your Taj Mahals, for example, like the hottest trend that there is at the moment. Some people can command up to $5,000 a slab for a very, very good quartzite. Incredibly hard, can be quite difficult to work with, show-stoppingly beautiful, but for a lot of people out of the
you're paying for it.
100% you do.
But let's say I like the granite or the marble look. Can you reproduce that sort of look with Asetica?
100% you can, We've got a Taj Mahal in our range. It looks exactly like a natural Taj Mahal. Yeah. We've got tropical greens that emulate these tropical and these rainforest greens and these beautiful color cutter oros and color cutter violas. Yeah. And that's the beauty of that, is that you can take an actual slab image, translate it, to this material that comes with all these beautiful benefits.
Yeah, and not having to pay for it.
And not having to pay for it,
It also
100%.
helps, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. Like you're only limited by your imagination, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that prints.
Yeah.
And that I think that's a big benefit. That if you go, hey, I've got this in mind.
Yeah.
You're a great first option.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can explore other options, but hey, this is what we can achieve.
Yeah.
And make that work. How does it go with textures and that, different finishes? Because sometimes you can get this odd feel, and sometimes it's not talking about yours, but I'm talking in general with different tops. So if you're feeling, oh, what's this? It feels plasticky, but it's not, or different textures.
Yeah, the technology has come so far now. Like from brand to brand, you will get some differences in texture, and you'll find the same thing with engineered stone as well. You know, some brands may be a little bit more polished and a little bit more sort of glossy or silky, and others might be a little bit sort of more matte, or like a matte polish, let's say, like a glacé sort of glossy finish. You know, with what we have now, we have a standard matte across our range. We also have a little bit of like almost like a bush hammered sort of textured finish in a couple of our styles. And then one thing that's really unique to us is what we call 3D carved technology. So we've got that
3D technology.
Carved.
Okay,
technology.
wow.
So we've got a few colours in our range, like our Breccia Brown, our Ardesi and our Travertino Pearl, which within the surface, they've embedded little sort of dimples and textures, particularly across veins. So like our Travertino, when you run your hand along it, it's like you are running your hand along real travertine to add to that extra realism.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It's very, very unique. Some of the porcelain brands don't have that.
Yeah.
And only some of the European brands like ourselves have that. And it's just a really beautiful, elegant way to elevate the surface without any additional cost.
I was going to ask. I was thinking, oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
So it's an option, yeah.
Yeah, it's an option, and it's it really creates that sense of realism that you would find in these natural stones.
Wow. So how do you actually do that?
Proprietary technology.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That secret squirrel.
No, but I guess because you have to. I don't mean like tell us, walk us through it, but I mean like your machines have to be calibrated for that to do that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, within the firing and the kiln process, it's all done in that sort of
that's amazing.
end process. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that 20 years is still very young for a product. So this technology will only continue to get better and better as time goes on and the technologies evolve to the point where you'll never be able to tell whether it's a real or an engineered material.
Yeah. So you could actually get a picture of your family and just give it to you guys. You just print it on the stone tops and go.
You absolutely could.
I don't recommend that to people at home, but if you're into it, why not?
But that's how some companies do it. They will take a natural slab of, let's say, a color cut to Oro. They will scan it in a system. They'll send that design to their manufacturer.
Yeah.
And then they simply just produce the slabs based on that natural image. And you can book match it, top, bottom, left, right. And it looks exactly like the original slab image because it's from a real natural slab.
Do you know what would be really hot and really a smart move here is someone got a table like this, and let's say you're a major developer, and you're doing a whole building estate, and you do the whole stone top of that estate and all the different stages that you can do over the next 10 years. That would be amazing. I'm sure people have already thought of this, but that would be an amazing way of doing it.
Yeah.
And then you can do your meetings and that's your block there, or
that'd be unbelievable.
or a precinct or a planning department, whatever.
Well, some builders do that, and we've spoken with particular people about doing particular unique colours to those project developments. Yeah. And that's just the beauty of working this material is that it's very dynamic and you can adapt and change very quick. Yeah,
because I think of Game of Thrones when they had that big table. It was the map of the whole Seven Kingdoms. Oh, yeah, that could be good. Ring you guys up, Ty, can you get this done for me?
100%.
But no, there's some really good ideas that you could do with that. Yeah. But I think the idea that you can actually match that style in your home in different areas, it's just not limited to the kitchens and bathrooms, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great. So what kind of thicknesses can you get the actual Asetica in? Is it?
Yeah.
You mentioned the narrow one earlier.
2 thicknesses, so 12 mil
Yep.
and 20 mil.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
12 mil people use for the vertical surface. And this is, again, like another benefit of the sintered stone or the porcelain. People just think about it as a benchtop or a splashback material. You know, you could use it for your vertical surface in your bathrooms or in your laundries or your outdoor areas like we spoke about before with the facade. So 12 mil is really perfect for that.
Yeah.
Nice and lightweight, still really robust and can be installed by a stonemason.
Gotcha.
And then for your 20 mil, that's your traditional benchtops or your alfresco areas or laundries or any areas where there's more of like a horizontal surface. So you just put it on your existing substrate and then you're good to go.
Lovely. And if someone wanted a thicker stone look, can you do the fascia and things like that?
You
or-
definitely can. So
Yeah.
that just comes from the existing slab. So
Yeah.
you just cut your edges. You do typically like a 45-degree
Yeah,
mitered
magic.
edge, and you can build that up to any thickness you want.
Yeah.
You look at a waterfall end, you could do a 60, 80, 100,
Yeah.
whatever sort of suits
Well,
your
most
design
stones
style.
these days aren't actually 100 mil of slab. They're actually just
They're
fascia,
just done
but
from your edge profile. Yeah, the thickest natural slab you could get typically, which is pretty rare these days, is 30 mil.
Yeah.
So most engineered stones, most benchtops come in the 20.
Yeah.
And then you got the benefit of the 12 with the ceramic or the
Yeah, and often, like in the past, you'd have the two 20 mil slabs on top of each other, create the 40. You're better off with a fascia and you don't get that line.
100%, yeah.
of dirt
You just
there,
cut
that's
your edge
great.
profile, do your 45-degree edge with your miter, and then you just build it down.
So what kind of maintenance does it need?
That's the beauty. It doesn't require maintenance.
Beautiful, just to wipe down every now and then.
Just wipe down every now and then.
Yeah.
There's with natural stone or engineered stone, still engineered stone still relatively maintenance free.
Yep.
But certainly if you've got your wine stains or your saw stains and you leave them embedded overnight, you're going to need some Jif or some creme cleanser and a lot of elbow grease to get that out. And sometimes it might not come out.
Yeah.
Whereas with the sintered material, it's completely non-porous.
Yeah, bang.
So that there's no pockets for moisture to absorb into the surface, and it just sits on the surface. So nothing more than a wet cloth.
That's beautiful.
It's
Red
unbelievable.
wine from the night before. And yeah, it's great.
I can attest to that because I've tested that many times.
Yeah,
Product
so
testing.
Just testing it out. Does it mean the wine is tax deductible? Is that how
I better talk to my accountant about that.
Why not? Absolutely. And that makes a lot of sense because cleaning's a big thing about it, and also the maintenance. And there's nothing worse if you have a porous stone
100%.
and that cake's been that soap cake of soap has been absorbed into your stone. Well, that's going to be there permanently.
Yeah.
But if you can have something that's again. If you're going to be there forever, it's worthwhile making sure that surface is going to look great. And to if you have a quartz composite or something and you chip it, it's not that easy to fix.
No, the technology is coming pretty far now, where there are a lot of companies that can do very good jobs with mineral, with the engineered stone, or with the sintered stone as well. But again, like I said before, it's just that extra peace of mind. Like, I don't want to have to worry about it after a hard day of work, coming home and cooking for my wife and my daughter or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I just don't want to worry about it.
Yeah.
And for natural stone, if you're paying thousands of dollars for a slab, the last thing you want is a coffee cup stain or a bit of something to completely ruin thousands of dollars and a beautiful natural slab.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. And actually, while I think of it, what about undermount sinks and things like that?
Yeah.
Just cut it out the same way and seal it? Is that sort of how that works?
Two options with your sink. So obviously you have your top mount. And the way I explain it to customers is that if you want something that's just very easy, you don't ever have to worry about it, go for your top mount. You might sacrifice aesthetics a little bit, but it's just that extra little thing that you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
But if you really do want that very beautiful aesthetic look, then your undermount sink is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think for me, being in the industry for such a long time, maybe I'm a little bit more mindful of putting pots and pans in the sink.
Yeah.
But even before that, I would never use something so heavy that I would chip the edge of the sink anyway, but it's just something to be mindful of. But yeah, integrated sinks, undermount, top mounts, it can all be done.
All too easy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, magic. Sounds like a pretty good product.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's just getting over that education hurdle of trying to convince people otherwise, because they see engineered stone, they see Caesar stone, for example.
Yeah.
That Caesar stone have monopolized the industry, and credit to them. They think that everything is Caesar stone.
Yeah.
But for us now, it's just about saying, hey, listen, there's different products out there, and you're seeing more of the big players get into the game now.
Yeah.
We're just very lucky to have this agreement with this beautiful European manufacturer that just eliminates all the issues, looks beautiful, performs well, and just kind of takes away all those negative connotations and myths around what has been in the industry prior to now.
Yeah, look, I've got a theory on this. So when this whole can't use quartz composite because of the products that are in the stone issue came out, because we work with 21 different builders, and we at one point, I think every single builder had a different solution and a different comment. I remember asking at least 6 of them within a space of 2 days, what's your solution for this whole stone issue? And they've gone, oh, we're doing, and they're all completely different answers. And I was going, wow. And then I think what a lot of people did is they went, okay, well, we have to do, okay, the quartz composite's not going to work anymore, so we'll look at porcelain. And they just weren't wrapped with what they saw there, or it's a lot more expensive at the time. I haven't had it priced for a while. And then you go, okay, well, I've got to pay that much more. Maybe I'll try this or try that. And there was no real clear industry solution. Some stone companies that are now excelling now, that used to work for one, have actually excelled from that because they did come up with a solution or had a solution the whole time. And then they've gone, okay, let's put that out there, and they've excelled. Whereas others have struggled to keep up with it. I think people have gone, we don't know what to do. And they may have, looked at the porcelain and go, we haven't really got the answer we wanted there, and then they stopped looking, or they've built their kitchen, and once you built your kitchen, you're probably not thinking about it ever again
Yeah.
until your next one. So I think the product you've got there, as people get more and more aware of it, they go, actually, this is a great solution.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of it, I think, and that's probably why until they, it's not really something you talk about every day off on the streets.
No.
But when it becomes relevant to you, what are my options here? And that's where I think if people stumble across it or find it or through the marketing, then they go, oh, actually, this is a real viable option. For them.
I think for a lot of your builders too, it's probably, I think one of the first things they would probably done is go and speak to their stonemason and say what works and what can we work with. And I think a lot of and this is not to speak ill of any area in this industry, but that lack of confidence from the fabricators, they'd say just do not touch porcelain because of this, or just go to this because of this, or do not touch engineered stone because of this. So again, there's still so much confusion driven by so many different areas of the market, from fabricators, specifiers, from companies themselves, from builders, cabbies. Everyone that's dealt with the material has a different version of events of their experiences with porcelain or other materials. So, now as the industry settles a little bit, I think people are a lot more open to exploring different materials than they've ever been beforehand.
I think you've got to do your research and find out what's out there.
You must.
So if you go to a builder and the builder goes, look, we don't work with that product, what should people do?
Pushback. Yeah, and again, that's driven typically by the fabricator response. So the builder will go to the fabricator and say, this client has chosen X, and I'll say, no, don't touch this because it's too hard to work with, or it's too brittle.
Or we don't know it.
Or they get an inflated quote. Not always, but with particular fabricators who choose not to work with porcelain, they'll inflate the quote by adding in additional slabs for cracking or whatever it might be, or because they just don't want to work with it, so they'll try and price it out of the job to go back to something that they're more comfortable with. I have had so many conversations with clients where they've had that exact experience. They've come into a showroom, seen a product, fallen in love with it, gone to the builder, say, this is what I want. They'll say, okay, I'll go and speak to the fabricator. It's out of the equation. So as an end user, you're entitled to choose whatever the bloody hell you want to choose in your home. So go and push back. And if that fabricator doesn't want to work, go and speak to another fabricator, or go and get a second opinion, because so oftentimes clients will speak to someone and just be set on that one opinion because they're confused themselves. They don't want to shop around because they just don't know what the hell to do.
Absolutely. Well, I think you're overwhelmed with questions and
it's paralysis. But analysis paralysis, 100% it is.
It's like, there's so much to do. I've got my own life, I've got kids to look after, I've got whatever.
100%.
And then you go, oh my God, okay, stone, whatever works. But so, correct me if I'm wrong, if your builder turns around to you and says, we don't use sintered stone, we don't work with that, push back, and then that builder can actually approach you guys and say, well, who does work with this?
Yes.
And then you guys would then go, well, these are the stonemasons that we recommend, or these are the kitchen and then the builder can then explore that with them. And
we've got a very tight-knit community of fabricators that we work with, that we vet and we work with, and we really personalise the service with our end users, because we've been there. We know what it's like. I've done thousands of interactions with clients that are so confused about everything, and they just kind of want someone to hold their hand, and that's what we do. So the end user can come at us and say, listen, I've spoken to this builder, who can we speak to? And we'll give them some options of people in the area, or we'll go and talk to the builder and try and help put their mind at ease a little bit about why this is a suitable material, and then go and work with their fabricator to put confidence in their mind about the material as well. It's not just a...
And the client doesn't have to worry about it. You guys will handle it for it.
And I think that's the big thing. Have to worry about it. I think so often a material supplier will just kind of wipe their hands of it. But at the end of the day, the client should get what the client wants. And it's your job as a fabricator or a builder, as a supplier, in my case, is to guide them in the right direction. Because they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And there's so many instances in my life outside of stone where I wish I had a guiding hand to help me in certain things.
That's basically every part of my life.
I'm a new dad, so I wish I had someone to help guide me along the way, because I've made way too many mistakes.
Good luck with that, mate. My oldest is 15. I'm still trying to work it out. So, it changes. It's
hopefully my daughter doesn't see this episode when she grows up.
I'm sure it'll be great. Dad, what a legend. So what are ways, just changing subject slightly, what are ways that people can save money with their kitchen, putting it together?
Yeah, I think this goes back to the question we just asked or spoke about beforehand. It's like, don't just set it with one thing, ask around. So the first one is get multiple quotes. Do you due diligence? Ask around, look at forums, look at Google reviews as well. You obviously want a stonemason with lots of good Google reviews. Ask your builder, ask your cabinet maker, ask friends. If you see a great kitchen at a friend's place, go and ask them where they got it done. So shop around. You could be surprised at how much money you could save just by asking other fabricators about a particular material. Another one is really simple, is like your edge profiles or your design styles as well. So if we sit at this table here, you've just got a very slimline edge profile. profile.
Yeah.
If you're going like a 20 or a 40 mil edge profile on a kitchen, on a butler's, or in a laundry and a bathroom, that could equate to multiple slabs of extra material to create those edge profiles. So consider maybe you might want a little bit more of a modern look or just an exposed edge profile in that. And again, I would say come to Asetica, but look around at different suppliers.
I come to you guys. That's what you should say. That. Yeah.
Look around at different suppliers as well. Look around. There may be something from other people that you might like. That's kind of where we sit. We are so much more affordable than the other big European brands with very similar colours.
Well, you are, because some of the big names out there in your area charge you 3 times more than what Stone does, and then your pricing is a fraction of that, which is fantastic, and deliver as good a product.
100%.
If not better.
We just don't have the same overheads.
Yeah.
And for us, everything we do is just built on just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
If we can save somebody some money, we're going to do that for them, and it's the right thing to do. So that's why we do it.
And your fingers on the pulse. Like, you're not,
100%.
we're talking about AI earlier. Things like you guys are, definitely living in the modern era.
We live and breathe this industry. I've been in this industry for 10 years. This is my life.
Yeah.
As it is our directors and everyone that works for our company, So anything we can do to do the right thing, we'll do it every single time. So those are probably the 3 best tips.
Yeah.
Or if I give you a bonus tip, if you really want a feature show-stopping space, do that in your kitchen. Or do that for your vertical surface in your splashback and go more simplified colours in your horizontal surfaces. Or go a wow factor kitchen and then go just simple builder's range in your laundry or bathroom where you're not going to get as much traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, to me, I love the look of, really nice modern stone. I was in Milan a few years back, and they're 10 years in front of Australia.
100%.
And they were thin was really the style. Like I think it was 10 mil or 12 mil. I think that was the style coming through.
Yeah.
And you can do I think it's the shark nose edge where it goes around like that, comes back, and there's all these really cool styles you can do. And I love it. And I think, rather than just doing what everyone else does, and you got the stone top with waterfall edge, and that's fine if you want to do that. But there's so much you can do, and so many cool things you can do. You can have a laminate box stand. You can have the
100%.
negative detail. There's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And it's worth jumping on Pinterest or Houzz or
Definitely.
other areas to find that out. But what's also great is, and what I think is lacking for options, is the splashback.
Yeah.
So you have your stone, and then you go, what's your splashback? Where you've got glass, which people love or hate. You can have the windows splashback, tiles, or subway tiles, or feature tiles. And then you go, well, you can have a stone splashback. You can have a stainless steel splashback, I guess, if you wanted to. But the things with those is that if you have a tile where you got grout there and it's going to get all your, it's going to be a nightmare trying to clean that all the time.
Definitely.
The glass splashback is, depending on who you talk to about how fashionable that is and what you want to do there. Then you've got the stone. Well, if you've got something like a quartz composite stone, well, they can't be exposed to heat, so you can't have that behind your hot plate or a hot plate area. So then you can have the actual quartz. You can actually have your stone that you're talking about there, and that feature go all the way through, and that just looks $1 million.
It does, yeah. And so again, one of the biggest benefits of the material is because it's heat resistant up to 400 degrees. On average, it's fired under 1200 degrees of heat, but 400 degrees heat resistance. You don't require that 200 mil distance from the periphery of the gas burner like you do other materials. So just like a tile can go directly up against the back of your gas burner, it only needs 50 from induction. So again, there's no heat issues, there's no streaking or staining or no grout. You get a consistent theme through your whole splashback. And that becomes like the feature focus as you walk into a kitchen. Your vertical surface is like the focal point of the entire space. And it's just wildly easy to look after.
And you just have it all on your splashback there, and there's continuous all the way through.
100%. You can do beautiful book matching imagery as well if you want to go down that route. Or because most splashbacks aren't longer than 3.2, you got to have a full slab there and a nice, beautiful, consistent image all the way through.
And it comes in 3.2 slabs?
3.2 by 1.6. That's usable area.
Yeah, it's really good.
In your 12 or your 20 mil.
Yeah, that's magic. One last question for you. If someone wants to get ideas of what you can do at Asetica, Instagram, your website?
Instagram, we post a lot of information up there on Instagram, but definitely our website. We've got 20 plus blogs. That changes. We do 2-3 blogs a week looking at the most common questions that we get asked there. So we really want to be a resource for everything stone design, not just sintered stone, but really stone design and inspiration. Just go to asetica.com.au and you're probably going to find it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, and there's some pretty cool stuff on what we've looked at already. So it's pretty
Thank
amazing.
you.
Mate, Ty, thanks for coming on. We've got a question for you, which we ask everybody, which is really important. If you had, you're building or renovating your own home, and you've got $10,000 that someone's just randomly given you, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, that might buy you a vase or something. I don't know, mate, but what would you spend that money on?
I'd spend that. I think go back to what you just said. I'd probably spend it on a splashback and a benchtop,
Yep.
or just like a benchtop and an island, something very similar.
Yeah.
Beautiful, modern, and exposed edge profile. Keep it really, really simple. I really love modern style kitchens because the kitchen is the heart of the home. You know, it's not just for cooking. You have memories, you have laughs, you do silly things around the kitchen. It's like the mainstay of the home. So put it into that. It's going to help with resale value. It's going to be beautiful, make really great memories around it. It's going to be a beautiful show-stopping part of your home.
Well, it is the most used area of your home too. And on top of that, like people listening may think this all sounds really expensive. It's not as expensive as you think.
100%.
So it is worth doing a bit more of a deep dive.
Yeah, something as simple, you could just do a cost exercise. Go to your stonemason. You've chosen something in engineered stone or you've chosen something in natural.
Yeah.
They got the plans anyway. So compare it against other materials and get 2 or 3 options. They'll be happy to do it for you. And if they're not, go somewhere else and ask somewhere else. And you can cost check against other materials. And I think you'd be very, very surprised. The big brands have been around for a very long time, but there's a lot of new people in the marketplace now that can save you a considerable amount of money, and that's what we're about here at Asetica.
Yeah, magic. If people enjoyed this podcast and you really like what we're putting on here, please leave a comment or like or leave a review on the website. So on the actual podcast, I should say. Really appreciate it. It actually helps spread the word. So thanks very much. Ty, you're a legend. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.